But thank you all so much for joining us for LinkedIn advice from a 35-year recruiter. Discover why it's imperative to have an updated LinkedIn profile and resume on hand at all times, and learn how to add lots of recruiter bait to your LinkedIn profile. And this discussion is led by Wendy Scowen, who's a New York City-based National Association of Legal Search Consultants executive legal recruiter for more than 35 years. She has recruited for law firms, both domestic, international, big, medium, boutique, associates, partners. She's run the gamut. Also in-house for general counsels, chief operating officers, and chief compliance officers, and everything else in between. Prior to becoming a full-time legal recruiter back in 1993, Wendy received her MBA and worked as a Wall Street investment banker for 10 years before attending law school. And I again want to thank the Friends of the Library for sponsoring. So all 56 of us who are watching live, plus the 4 people in the waiting room, plus everyone that will watch the recording, let's give a big virtual round of applause to Wendy for joining us this afternoon. And Wendy, you can take it away. Thanks so much.
Hey, everybody. So, I gather everyone here is looking for a job or thinking about looking for a job. Okay. LinkedIn started out as a job search site and has morphed into a phone book, basically, because anytime you talk to somebody, and they mention a name, the first place anybody goes is to LinkedIn to look them up, see who they are, because that's the place where everybody is these days, and you can find out all you need to know about them. And if you don't have your LinkedIn profile filled out, you're basically an empty sleeve. And it's really not very useful. So basically, LinkedIn has become something that is a must do. Even something has to be there. And it's no longer enough to just put your name and your place of work and your school. It's not enough. For example, yesterday I was doing a small search. And a small search means I put a Boolean search into, well, let me step back. As a recruiter, I live on LinkedIn. I have an advanced form of LinkedIn that is LinkedIn Recruiter. And so it's an equivalent to LinkedIn Premium. So it allows me to put in Boolean searches, and a Boolean search, for people who don't know, means I can put in, I'm looking for an associate who is a litigator and lives in New York City and is 5 to 7 years out and does motions. And I mean, I can be very, very, very specific on what I'm looking for, what characteristics, what kinds of litigation, and I can also say, and not. So a Boolean search is a formula that I can put in multiple kinds of skills, and I can put not, which is why you want to have skills. You have room for 50 at the bottom, but also throughout your profile. Because LinkedIn doesn't care where it is in your profile. It doesn't have to be in your skills, but somewhere. And then I say search. And it comes back to me and says 700 found. And of the 700 found, 200 are in open to opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to step back again. Your LinkedIn profile has multiple pieces to it. It has your headline, your name, it has your about section, it has your where you're working, and it has your school. If you don't fill it out, it's an empty piece of paper. It's a waste of space because it doesn't tell me who's looking at it anything about you. And if you're looking for a job, please flip the open to opportunity button on the inside the profile. We'll talk about the banner later, but please flip the open to opportunity button. Go into the open to opportunity button. Don't just flip it, go into it. It can ask you what job title you're looking for, what geography you're looking for. It asks questions. Are you looking for hybrid? Are you looking for full time? Answer the questions. Why? Because of those 700 it came up with, 200 were open to opportunity. That's where I go first. Because those people have done a quarter of my job for me. They answered my question. I don't have to, I can look at them and say, oh, this person's looking for San Francisco. My job is in New York. I don't have to bother calling them. And if you have flipped the open to opportunity, God help you if you haven't filled out your profile. The search I did the day before yesterday gave me 90 people who were open to opportunities. 75 of the 90 people had not filled out their profile. It was a waste of my time and their time. They had nothing on their profile, not a thing, just the names of where they're working. That's it. And when I went to their company profile, half of them, because they were associates, weren't even listed because they were small law firms, and the small law firms, they only list partners. So I had no idea what they did for a living. No clue. Next. If a recruiter lands on your page, you want to make sure they stay there and spend time there, and that you've given them enough information that they're going, ooh, this person's interested. Now, how does a person make a recruiter want to stay there? Many different ways. First of all, your headline. Woe be to you if your headline says associate XYZ firm, controller XYZ firm, vice president XYZ firm, where LinkedIn has taken your actual title at your actual company or firm and then put it at whatever company you're working at. How boring. There are formulas that you can find on LinkedIn where coaches have put out in articles. There are formulas that you can, if you want to take the least, the slowest, laziest way of doing things, where you can just figure out, it's a formula that you can write a headline that's more interesting than that. And basically what it is you take a couple of your big skills, you talk about what your actual job is, and you put it up there. But there are formulas that you can try and write your hand at. There are 220 character spaces in the headline for you to play with. Write something interesting. Write something that's going to catch my eye as I'm flipping through. You don't want to write lies, of course you're not, but you want to write something interesting so that that I go, oh, okay, this person's a little different, a little more interesting. So that I say, okay, let me go and look what's going on in this profile. Yes, I know they're a teller at a bank, but they've written something different that makes me go, oh, this person's interesting. Play with it. You know what? Go and look and see what other people who are tellers at a bank have done with their profiles and their headlines. Just go look. You can search for bank tellers. LinkedIn allows you to go search for bank tellers. And you can see what other people have done. 90% of them will still say bank tellers, but you'll get to see what some of the interesting people have done. Maybe it'll spark your interest and spark your curiosity. But there are headline formulas that you can look up because many coaches have put them out there. Try your hand. If you don't like it, what you've written today, try something else tomorrow. You'd be interested. Okay, now we're done with the headline. How many of you have changed your URL, your address on LinkedIn? Did you know you had one? LinkedIn address gives you a LinkedIn address that is your address. You can put it down anywhere. You can put it on your business card. You can put it on your resume. That address immediately takes you down to your LinkedIn profile. The one that LinkedIn gives to you is your name and a whole bunch of little numbers and letters. It's very easy to tell that that's the one that LinkedIn has given you. Very easy. It's also lazy if you don't change it. It's another place to differentiate yourself and make yourself stand out. Now, if you pull up your own LinkedIn profile and you're looking at yourself, you'll see on the top line your name and your little photo, and you'll see an inverted diamond. If you click on that, up will come, it'll say your open profile. What you want to do is you want to go click on edit profile. And off to the right-hand side, it'll say edit URL. Click on that, and you'll see the little pencil, and you'll see what your URL currently is. And it's just like Gmail, unfortunately. You have to play with it until you find something that you are like, that describes you, that nobody else has already got. Mine, I changed to Shown Legal Search. Luckily, I'm one of a kind. But you can play with it. Find something that describes you. First of all, try your name. If that doesn't work, try something else that describes you. Be smart. Remember, this is job searching, so you don't want to do something that's going to be foolish. So pick something smart. If you're a bank teller, write bank teller, see if that works. Try something else. But that's the second place that you can be different. Once you've done that, come back to your profile. Okay. That's two things. Now we're down to the about section. Personally, I think this is the most important part of your entire LinkedIn profile. This is the this is the brag section. This is yeah, I know I did something really, really fantastic and it's really located on the bottom of page 2, and you would never see it unless you actually looked at my entire profile. But I'm going to put it up here because, oh my God, you should know that I got a bronze medal in the Olympics in 1996. But you're never going to know that because it's the bottom of my resume. So I'm going to put it up here. Now, your LinkedIn profile and your LinkedIn resume, excuse me, your LinkedIn profile and your regular resume. This is not where you want to list responsibilities. In today's day and age, everything is accomplishment driven. So what you want to do, both in your up here in your about section and also in your other parts of your LinkedIn profile and also on your resume, do not put responsible for. Please do not put responsible for. You need to think of what you have accomplished, what you have done, because hiring managers want to look at what you have done and then extrapolate, meaning take that information and to apply it to what they're looking for and see whether what you have done is applicable to the problem that they have at hand, and whether what you have done is usable to fix the problem they have at hand. They don't care if you were responsible for 25 people. That doesn't mean anything to them. The fact that you fixed a problem, the fact that you and your team came up with a solution to XYZ problem that ended up saving the company $25, that means something. The fact that you closed this tunnel, or you came up with a solution that enabled the company to do Y, that means something. The fact that you, whatever, think of the things that you have done, or try and recast the things that you have done, that you and your group have done. Try and recast them in terms of actions and accomplishments, and see if you can turn them in that way. They don't have to be dollar figure accomplishments. They can be reduced something by half, or instituted something that was enabled the company to add another person, or okay, so figure out how you are able to monetize or digitalize or quantify something. Or even if you were able, because of your efforts, the company was able to move to step 2. That's an accomplishment. Try and figure out if you can do that with what you have done in the last year or the last 6 months, or okay? That's what you want to try and figure out, how you can save and state what it is that you've been doing. That's your goal. And then once you figured that out, what you want to do is you want to take your major, big time, huge accomplishments and put them in the about section. Your super duper duper accomplishments, you want to put in the about section. Because what you're doing in the about section, you're saying, you're going to get to all the things that I've done, but I want you to pay particular attention to these 5 or 6. Because someone like me, a recruiter like me, is going to read your headline, your about section. I may look at your schooling, because in some industries, schooling is important. And then I will go aside if I want to go back and look at what you're doing and where you've done it, what your experience is. And if all that stuff is good, I'm hoping you've also got a resume that I can look at, because you sent it to me in a submission when you applied to a job, as opposed to me going tiptoeing through the tulips in a recruiter search. And that's why you want your resume and your profile to be updated all the time, because at least half of my searches are not because I put out a job ad and someone's answered it and I'm looking at both things. It's because I've done a search on LinkedIn and I'm going looking. And these people don't know that I'm looking. And half of them are not, as I said, are not necessarily open to work, are people who are minding their own business, going along, doing their jobs, and they have no idea that there's a recruiter working in their midst. And they're going to get a phone call out of the blue, and it's opportunity knocking, which is why once you have updated your profile, you absolutely, positively have to put into your calendar every quarter, the start of every quarter, a reminder to go back, look at your profile, make whatever updates you need to make so that it's up to date. Do the same thing for your resume. Add new skills in, add new references in, add new accomplishments in, so that it is up to date all the time, because you never know when someone like me is in your case. Now I'll take questions.
All right, so just so folks feel comfortable asking questions, I am going to stop the recording. So it wasn't much of a recording, but we went about 20 minutes there. So I think people will